to Respect, DanceFest Weekly with me, Micaya, and my co-host, Brandy.
Brandy House. Yes.
I remember when you were not Brandy Beasley, you were Brandy Logue.
Brandy Logue, yes. I've had a couple of different last names. I like this one the best.
Good. Well, everybody, welcome to episode 3. I'm in a happy mood today just because we've had some good talks already with King Charles, with Jason Hill. We talked about dance. We've talked about social justice and all kinds of light and deep things. And we're doing this because it was actually the brainchild of our tech guru, who I want to give a little shout out and thank you to, Kevin Morrison.
Kevin!
Yeah. Yes. So give thanks to him because it was his idea that we do this. Leading up to the opening of what?
The 22nd, 22 years, y'all, grinding for 22 years, right? SF Hip Hop International Hip Hop Dance Fest. Yes, so we're going to be online this year. You got to get your tickets. We got some live performances. We have a piece being curated. We got the kids montage. And then we get to reminisce with some past performances. So I'm really excited.
Me too. And pretty soon we're going to do a little reveal on social media of the VIP appearances. So we're going to just have some special guests come by the show November 21st, and just chat us up for a minute. Some of them are quite big names. So before you do your introduction of our guest today, I have to just tell you that this girl, woman, entity, force of nature is my dance daughter. And I've known her for a really long time. I met her when she was dancing at City College, and I was hired to choreograph a piece on the City College dance group. I don't know what they were. I guess she'll clear that up. And that's how I met her. And she's grown to fulfill so many things now and has her own kids that she teaches, which she calls them my dance grandbabies. I'm not mad. It's fine, whatever. But I just want to say I'm thrilled, I'm honored, and I'm proud of this young lady. So please do the honors, Miss Brandy.
Right on. You almost did all the intro. No, that's okay. So I'm excited because this is our first local artist, right? So that's exciting. And I've actually danced with Fae Salfiti before, founder, director of Bliss dance company. That's very exciting. Just watched her like put stuff on that company and work. And she's a fellow Virgo. So I'm just like, yes. Okay. So also owner of Bliss Urban Arts Center in Vacaville, California. She has basically like built from the ground up a dance community out there. So disciplined is a word that comes to mind when I think about her. Also, just, when she's in a room, it's like, oh, Faye here, okay, because she's just like walking around, giving her energy, okay? And so I think the discipline and hard work she puts into her work, she expects from her dancers, but she does it through love. So we are going to welcome her, but first we get to see a clip of Bliss in action.
And it's like that little MVP, don't get no sleep, no, I don't like that look. It's me with that bullshit. You ain't really wild, you a tourist.
Welcome, Faye.
Hi. We're here.
Hi,
It's
sweetie.
good to see your face.
Like a little,
You too, guys. I love you.
like a little throat stuff because of the fire. So
Yes. It's really smoky up here still, so I'm dealing with a bit of a throat issue, but I'm all right.
okay. But diva stuff. Just drink your tea.
Got my tea. I'm good.
Well, thank you for being here. I've started off every episode basically talking about the title of this podcast, which is respect. I spend a lot of time in my life explaining to people why respect is important in what we do, and how you people like you and me fight so hard to not only educate people about how to respect dancers more and how to see them as professionals, but also just to raise awareness that you know, of that. So I thought you would have some 2 cents, because you have very lovely and strong opinions about these kind of things when it comes to dance. And have you experienced where you have been in that situation as well, where you've had to educate people about being respectful to how they're treating dancers?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, it starts in the classroom. Like, the first thing that any of my dancers learn is respect and discipline before they even learn how to dance. So if we're not teaching that to the dancers first, they're not going to understand their own worth when it comes to being respected outside of that. So that's like the main thing for me. But yeah, absolutely. There have been many times, as you guys have experienced, where people will try to take advantage of your talent and not want to pay you or not want to honor your time, or just look at it like a little dance thing, like you're just in the background and like you don't matter. But yeah, over the years, I had to tell people I'm not working pro bono and earn my stripes. And, you know, when I first moved to Vacaville, I didn't know anybody. So I literally had to start from scratch and work my way up. So earning respect was, you know, was a journey, but also you have to give it to get it. So I was giving it, so I got it, you know. And then I was teaching my dancers how to have it and how to receive it and how to give it. And so as they grew up in the years in the studio, they understand that. So everywhere they go, they're giving respect, and that they know that's how they receive it. So it's important in our studio. I know different studios do different things and have different mottos, but like for us, discipline and respect are priority before dancing.
And it shows.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Actually, that just reminded me of a little thing that happened, I think like last year during Mission in the Mix. So I do 2 shows a year, SF International Hip Hop Dance Fest, and of course Mission in the Mix, which happens in June. And Bliss has performed in both. And I remember being upstairs at Dance Mission, getting ready to produce the show, getting everybody together, looking down at the BART station, and there's Bliss rehearsing over and over and over again. And you weren't even there. It was the kids.
One Love.
It was for One Love? Okay, see, it was something, and I'm like, these kids are so dedicated. They took it upon themselves to go outside at the BART station and rehearse.
That's right. They know better.
But you know what? Like they're doing that. It's not from like, you know, fear or oh my gosh. It's like we're up here representing, and this, you know what I'm saying? Like this is us. This is our community. We respect ourselves and what we're getting ready to go do on stage, right?
Exactly.
That's where that comes from. Yes. On the concrete. So that gets into, so Bliss Dance Company is all youth. It's been youth. That's who it is. And so I want to know about your decision to work with youth, to have a youth dance company. So where did that come from? How did that come about?
Well, I always loved teaching. Even when I was an up and coming dancer, I always just loved to choreograph and like show my friends routines growing up. So like when I was still living in the Bay Area, I was teaching for the youth at my church. And then when I moved to Vacaville, I was like, oh, I think I want to start a class. So I started with the community center, and I just did 2 classes, 1 day a week kind of thing. And then over a period of a couple of years, when I started to get to know people and build my base out there, I was like, I really want to start a community team. Like I wasn't even thinking competitions. I wasn't thinking about traveling or anything. I just wanted to kind of put together a team for kids to have something positive and fun to do. I've always loved working with kids. Originally, I wanted to be a social worker because I wanted to work with children. And then I changed my major to theater and dance because I realized that I'm working with them through theater and dance, and I'm still mentoring them and being there for them in all the ways, not like a social worker, but in that loving mentor way, right? But yeah, I love children, and I've always wanted to work with them. And so I committed my whole company to, committed my time to teaching them. So it's great. I love them.
You are a social worker, girl.
I feel like it, girl. I feel like I'm a
Don't
mom.
get it twisted.
I'm like, I've never birthed a child, but I am a mother out here.
Yes, solving problems, connecting to resources. I'm a community health nurse, so I'm like, no, I see what you're doing.
Food, whatever.
That's right.
I love
All
it.
right.
So you actually have a space in Vacaville, Bliss Urban Arts Center.
Yes,
and I know you have obviously classes, rehearsals, and whatnot, but I've attended a couple of your other events there as well. And there's something about that always that warms my heart. I feel really like, if there was something that I'm not doing that I wish I could do right now, that would be it. And what that is providing a safe space for people, especially young people, to express themselves. And every time I've left your event, I've felt hopeful for the future in ways that I've never felt before. Because your kids are having a place that they can express themselves. And it's not just dance. They do spoken word, they rap, she lets them say whatever they want to say, do what they do.
Yeah.
You're a powerful force in Vacaville, in the dance community. You're a prominent figure. I mean, now hearing, because I didn't know this, that you wanted to be a social worker, and that you love kids, where does all that passion come from? What is that thing that's what is it that drives you to be all of that?
Probably just having a really hard time growing up and seeing what I needed as a kid. I think that's probably one of the biggest things for me. And realizing that I never had a Fae growing up. I want, what I'm saying? I want to make sure that when they grow up, they'll remember that they had a Fae and that they could be a Fae to somebody else. That's super important to me. I saw a meme that said, be the person you wish you had when you were a kid. And that's exactly what I try to be. So yeah, I would definitely say just, different stuff growing up, traumas and things like that, that led me to realize I really want to work with kids and be there for kids. Because dance is literally just like the platform, but when these kids come to the studio, it's all real life interaction first and last. Dance is just what we do that brings us into the building. But ultimately, all these kids know that I'm in Telegram every day. How are you feeling today? You had a rough day. What do you need? Did you eat breakfast today? Because I know you're not eating. There's certain kids I have certain bonds with, and I'm constantly checking on them. Sometimes they sleep over. Sometimes I'm giving them rides. Like I said, it's just that stuff is so much more important to me than the fact that we're winning at World of Dance or something, But we also do those things because that's what brings us together. Dance is just the mold, but the real life part of all of this is more important to me than anything.
That stuff is personal. That's personal because it sounds like you're putting part of yourself into that experience. And I kind of felt that way too. I didn't have a hard childhood in that way with a lot of trauma, but I know that I was a sensitive person and fragile, and being in dance classes and getting kind of that wrath of a dance teacher used to wither. And I said, if I want to be a dance teacher, and I don't want to be that, I want to be that one that can feed you're like me. We're not going to sit there and baby you. We're going to be hard, but we're also going to do it with grace and with truth and honesty, and not by bringing people down.
Right.
Yes. Y'all got me misty-eyed over here. For real, I think that people maybe outside of the dance community don't recognize the community part is no joke. You know, this is a community, and especially when you build a community that has people like you and Micaya who are coming from a place of love and empathy, and we're going to get on this dance floor, and you are going to respect this area. You're going to respect me up here. You're going to respect yourself, the person next to you. And then also, you know, what do you need? You know, oh, you're having a hard day today. I mean, yes, you just, when you're in that rehearsal space, that's a special place. That's sacred. That's a safe place, especially if you have someone like you or Micaya there. You go there and the rest of the world drops away. And those people meet you where you're at and give you what you need, you know? So, yes.
During quarantine, because those kids didn't have the studio to go to, which was their escape, you know? So it was like, I'm seeing them behind a computer screen and they're at home, and some of them don't have great home lives and they're miserable. And so I was constantly in their ear more during that time because I already knew what's going on, because they couldn't get to their safe space, you know? So that was a tough time. The only thing I had a hard time with during quarantine was worrying about them, not even myself. I was more worried about those kids that need Bliss, that need studio.
Right. I mean, really, like it's already been proven. The kids that have that place where they can access art through dance or whatever their art form is, you know, they're going to end up doing something positive instead of negative. It's that simple. And when we talk about somebody like Fae, there needs to be like fireworks and rainbows and glitter coming from the sky on this woman. And I'm not trying to be funny, but like really, you should be never worried about cash. You should never be worried about, because your heart's in the right place. And now that I'm a grown woman, a grown-ass woman, I can say that because I understand what it's like to have your heart in the right place and to say, I need funding for this. Because it's not about you.
It's never. It's never about me.
No.
Like, you know, during the quarantine, I've set up a GoFundMe, and I'm like, this is not for my bills. This is for you guys to keep your building. This ain't my building. It's your building. It's the kids' building, you know? But yeah, no, it's tough because a lot of times, and I know you know this too, Mom, because we love so hard, we put ourselves last. And then I end up, my battery ends up on 0, and then I can't give. You know, we do that to ourselves, but it's because ultimately we want to make sure everyone around us is taken care of first.
Yes.
But, no, it's real. And I noticed that's not a great quality, but you know, it comes from love. So,
Well,
finding balance.
I told you before, if we were nursing mothers, which Brandy knows all about because her babies are even younger, we have to eat in order to produce our milk. If we don't eat, guess what? Our milk will run dry. So I have to continue using that analogy, guys, because it works.
It totally works, girl. I'm telling my kids, mama has to eat. Okay, I got to eat and drink some food, and then you can have milky. But if I don't eat and drink, there's no milky, okay?
No milky.
No milky.
No milky.
Okay. I love this. I love this because I think our other two guests have been men, so there's just like a different energy right now, right? It's different. Okay, so let's get into this SF International Hip Hop Dance Fest. So I know, I remember watching Bliss the first time they were in DanceFest.
Okay.
And so I know like that was just like you grinded to make that happen. I also know that you are behind the scenes at DanceFest as well. Okay. So tell me tell me about performing or other memorable experiences. Like when someone's like, oh, DanceFest, what are those things that pop into your head?
Well, the first memory is when I was like 19 and I did Micaya's workshop. It was before she had Soul Force. And I was in 2 pieces. One was like a video game piece, and I was Queen Spaz Machine, and I'll never forget that costume. And another one we danced with the chain, and it was like some, I forgot who, Method Man, Red Man mix. But that's the first experience I have of DanceFest, and it was after I met Mom at City College when she did a project for the school it was like a dance class thing, and anybody could sign up, and we did it. And then from there, she was like, sign up for the workshop for DanceFest. So anyways, I did DanceFest, and after that, I just fell in love, and I kept taking her classes until I moved. But then I came back and rejoined when she had Soul Force and did one more DanceFest with her ages ago. Like, I want to know, maybe 2010 or something. It was with like the swirly shirts, and it was a while back. And then my kids finally got on in like 2012, and it was some really goofy, silly piece, and I don't even know how they got picked for that, because we were just trying to have some fun with it. So when my kids got it for the first time, it was super exciting for them, because again, we're just a community team at the time. We weren't even like trying to be competitive or take it super serious at that time. So when we got the show and it was a paid gig, it was like huge thrill for us, you know.
Get that money.
I rejoined Soul Force again like 2 years later, and then and then Bliss got it on again. So like I got to perform 3 or 4 times over the years, and then Bliss got to perform, I believe, 3 or 4 times over the years on different years. So it's just, and I've come back just to volunteer and just to be there. And DanceFest is always just such a magical experience. So much talent, meet people from across the globe. Like what you did with that, Mom, like I remember where it started. I was in the 2nd annual, and it was at Theater Artaud.
Was that with those like orange and yellow? Was it, girl, I got pictures of that. I got the negatives.
From Theater Artaud to where it's at. It's like, man, Mom, that's incredible. Yeah, it's always been a great experience. I just love everything about it. But yeah, I'll never forget my first experience was being in it, and then the first time my kids got in the show. I think those 2 are the most memorable.
How many times did you apply? How many years
God.
did you apply before you finally made it?
I think because Bliss was created in 2004, and when we first created, I was like, I'm going to just sign us up for everything just so we get experience. So I was signing them up and auditioning them for everything. I think we did like 5 or 6 years before we actually got it.
Wow.
Something,
5 or 6 years. Yeah. And I remember calling you personally on the phone in tears.
In tears. She's like, you guys got it. And I'm like, I'm so
right. It's just like, because she would, so I send a letter to anyone who applies saying they made it or they don't. Sometimes they reply and say, can you give me feedback? Can you tell me what I need to work on? And I'm pretty sure she might have done that. And then I kept giving her things. And I kept seeing this growth, expansive growth every year. And these are my babies, until finally it was no question anymore. It wasn't like, oh, it's big. No, they earned it. They were there. And it was so emotional for me. It was so emotional for me because, to see where they come, where they go. And now, I don't know if everybody knows this, but listen to me clearly. Bliss Dance Company are superb.
Yes.
You don't mess with them. They're so good.
I know, right?
She's like, I know, right? Yeah, that Bliss Dance Company. I remember when y'all got into DanceFest because, I know Bliss from Mission in the Mix, right? Just regular part of Mission in the Mix. And so I remember Micaya being like, Bliss got in. I was just like, what? Because I also remember when Bliss, remember Micaya, when you had auditions be like a show?
One
yeah,
year.
just one time. It was a lot of work. And I remember Bliss doing a piece in that. So I just Bliss is family. They're the Bay Area dance community. And, every year at DanceFest, you have, before it was like international, even though it's always been international, it's like this family reunion, right? Of just local dance people. And you're like, oh, I know I'm gonna see this person at DanceFest. People will come back who have moved out of state will be like, oh, it's DanceFest time. It's like the holidays, right? And now it's becoming where the international people are also, they return and you're just like, oh, hey, what's up? I haven't seen you, since last time. So it's really beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
It is. It's our family. And the people who are like you, Brandy, I've known you this whole time. You're a dancer. You took my class. You were in Soul Force.
That's right.
You've been my assistant. Faye, you know, we all have somehow stayed connected. And even when Bliss isn't performing, Faye will hit me up. What can I do? I'll sell shirts. I'll do body work. Even one year she was driving some people around, but she said they were bitchy. So.
They were treating me like I wasn't the director of my own dance company, bitch.
Word.
Uber driver, you know that, right? And you know, I'm with the DanceFest, and anyway, so she's like, please don't make me
drive ever again. I'll sell t-shirts, Mom, I swear to God.
Like anything but that.
Like, down. You've been down no matter what.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
You always have some fine ass men at DanceFest too.
Oh God.
Word. Oh my gosh.
Goodness. Well, we don't want to like spill the beans or, you know, dish out the dish, but as I think we did mention it quickly when King Charles, is that the dancers backstage do get rather social with each other. You know, they fraternize. Did you fraternize, Faye?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Right, that's behind the scenes, right? It's back. It's like what?
What is that?
Fraternize?
What is that? What is that?
All of a sudden, she's quiet for the first time in her life.
I'm a whole virgin.
Oh yes. Okay.
We're not going to sass about that then. About who kissed who. For the record, me, nobody. Anyway.
Boring.
I know, I'm boring. I'm boring. So you tell us some interesting, funny stuff before we wrap up.
What you want to know?
Something stupid, because you've been so wonderful and serious and you didn't cuss at all. And like, usually we ask people like what silly things have happened to them on stage. But you know, like you have a lot of opinions. We look at you on social media and you always have something to say about something.
Well, give me a topic or something. What do you
Well,
want?
I tried to, but then you were like, what's fraternizing mean? And she's hushed again. Okay. What about other people hooking up with other people? We won't talk about.
You want me to put people on blast and tell their business? Girl, you crazy.
You don't have to tell their names.
Are you talking about at DanceFest?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I've seen it all. Yeah, I've seen it.
Have you? Probably way more than I even know, which is fine. Yeah.
You might want to ask some of your Soul Force members.
Oh. I should have just not gone there, because now I'm busted, because I'm sure they did.
Now you're gonna be like, who is it? Girl, DanceFest. Okay, so I'm married and I've been married. But before then, that was like, you know, you're like, ooh, they're cute. Ooh, I like the way they dance. Oh, let's go out to the club later with them. Okay, that's just part of it. But not for me anymore.
Brandy, who did you go out with?
Girl, I'm not naming names.
You're tripping. I'm over here trying to have us bust each other out.
I'm telling you.
I ain't putting no one on blast, Mom. You crazy.
Fine. Well, let's just wrap up with that. Telling me that Soul Force has gone and hooked up with people that I didn't know.
VIP party. That's where it be going down. Free liquor. Okay.
All right. Let's wrap this up. I want to thank Faye so much for joining us and sharing a little bit of herself. We appreciate you. I think I said for the record of how much we honor you and how much for me as a dance mom, and you call me mom, and how proud I am of you and how I continually look forward to this woman that you're becoming and this everything that you're becoming, this force that you're becoming. It's blowing me away. And so thank you for sharing with us. Brandy, thank you. Give everybody, you know, the details of where to get tickets and all of that.
sfhiphopdancefest.com. Let's let them know. And you can watch this on Facebook. Well, if you're watching it, you know how to watch it. So yeah.
And YouTube, but if you just go to sfhiphopdancefest.com, all the archives of every show will be there. So that's one way to do it as well. And I'm really looking forward to it. It's getting exciting, and I'll give us more information next week. I don't know who next week's guest is going to be, so I guess it'll just be a surprise. Yeah, I don't know. They're still, our social media managers still wrapping that up and getting it together. But nevertheless, thank you everybody for tuning in once again to Respect Dance Fest Weekly with me, Micaya, and Brandy.
Me, Brandy.
And thank you again to Fae.
Love you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Love to everybody. Bye.